Welcome to Convention Reviews. Today we'll be talking about Ichibancon 2025. This convention takes place in Concord, North Carolina, in the early months of January at the Embassy Convention Center. This convention is a 4-day event celebrating anime, video games, manga, and other aspects of Japanese pop culture, which has continued to grow in popularity as time has gone on. One thing I really do like about this convention is that it does attract a lot of really great talent across the board, as well as other conventions will also advertise this too. So it's been around long enough that it's really made its mark on the community, especially in Western North Carolina. Some examples being Goblins and Growlers, Anime Town Greenville, which is another convention, as well as other talents that also lend their ear to this particular convention. One of the unique cases of this is a group called the Voice Actor College, which tries to bring in a level of what to expect when joining a voice acting group and what it really takes to be in that industry. Interestingly enough, as a side note, a number of voice actors and talent that was invited this year unfortunately could not make it due to the tragic LA wildfires, as well as a major blizzard that occurred in Texas as well. Another big draw to Ichibancon is there is a really large community of Itasha owners in the western part of the state, and as such, they really have built up a great relationship with that community and have a really large selection of vehicles to kind of show their Itasha or kind of cringy raps to. And, I always find this to be a really interesting element of the convention because there's always, one or two new vehicles I've never seen before or, have been wrapped by this community, even if I've been to a lot of the ones in the area, which is always kind of fun because it's always cool to see, what's, vehicles are getting wrapped or what's the, design that they chose. And, it's really cool to see, how a lot of this community is and, really, from really well-established series to more niche to some really far out there ones as well. In particular, I think one of the ones that was really interesting to me was somebody had a laid-back camp vehicle, which they were in the process of actually wrapping, I believe, in the next couple weeks, but they actually got an import Mitsubishi for that particular wrap, which was kind of cool. Ichiban also invites several musical guests to their events. Probably one of the big ones was Mystery Skulls, which is a very popular DJ from what I can tell. It was a very well-attended event from what I could see. The other band was Kaza, which has performed quite a few years with this convention circuit and has also produced some pretty good music overall. One of the other invited guests to Ichiban was a group called the Chalk Twins. They create many different kinds of artwork using chalk designs, and usually their big thing is they'll do like a really large tapestry of a very popular video game or anime property, and essentially live draw it over the entire weekend. This has been going on for at least 2 years, if not longer, and has really become kind of an interesting thing. It's always fun to kind of stop by their booth or area to kind of watch them slowly put the thing together. Another fun element of Ichibancon is that they have a really well-developed arcade room, which really gets a lot of really great import Japanese video games from Initial D to a lot of the rhythm games, Dance Dance, among many others. And, even it had a really cool claw game to get prizes, which was a really kind of fun aspect. One thing I really love about this convention too is the fact that you have time to actually play the games for more than 5 minutes. It's really fun to kind of pop in, play games for 30 minutes or an hour when you have some downtime, and not have to wait in line for a half an hour to play a game, which really is something that you don't see at a lot of conventions, which is a pretty fun aspect of going to this one if you're into that. One of the other features of this convention that I really like is that they managed to get a lot of really great talent when it comes to panels. There really was a wide selection of options from professional panelists that had come in as well as amateur ones that really had a wide range of really great topics that, always amazes me every time I come back. A couple ones that, in my opinion, were pretty good was they had one from video games from 2005, which was 20 years ago as of this panel, which really kind of dove into a lot of interesting things. Another one was actually a translator for one of the big anime companies and video game companies, which, was interesting to kind of see kind of the nuts and bolts of that, as well as some people that were covering, more niche titles of, older anime, as well as anime that has a lot of historic importance to not only the community, but also for the building blocks of, things that came after it, which I think is really important that people still remember these things and at least have some level of appreciation. One aspect I also will say from another panel that was fun was somebody was talking about fan parodies that were done over the years, which, was a pretty cool way of looking at all these ways in which like AMVs and other fan projects have kind of also played a major role in the fandom as well. One of the featured guests, Samurai Dan, was probably one of the biggest aspects of this convention that was a major draw. He is a trained martial artist and, really goes around to a lot of conventions as well, providing live demonstrations as well as his real insight into 16th century samurai and Japanese swordsmanship, which, really is a unique aspect of this convention. He's a really fun individual if you ever get a chance to meet him, and really has some unique insights into the industry, which is pretty fun. Another interesting component is the cosplay of this event. I really like this convention because, it's very casual for the most part. There are a lot of, really great, cosplays, but it's not taken as seriously as some of the bigger conventions out there, which, is kind of nice because, you do see some really cool ones walking around the hallways. There were also several really good group cosplays as well. I know for Kaiju number 8, as well as some other groups as well, came together for this, which was pretty good. And the thing is that the only downside I will say for this particular convention is that the cosplay contest, because of the inclement weather, which is bound to happen this time of year, a lot of cosplayers dropped out of the contest, so it did feel a little shorter than normal. But overall, some really great designs and work over time. I will say that if you're like an amateur cosplayer trying to get into it, this is definitely a great event to show off at an amateur level your skills. I would say probably one of the more fun ones I've ran across was that somebody did a really spot on Gomez and Morticia Adams, as well as a Fallon Dragon hybrid cosplay, which was really quite interesting because you don't really see a lot of that variation of the character, which was pretty fun to say the least. Overall, a lot of people did some really amazing cosplays over the weekend, which was really great, even for some older series as well, which was an interesting throwback as well. One thing I will say that's interesting about this particular convention is that they all on Sundays they also hold a sort of garage sale for cosplayers and anime fans that might have older merchandise they're trying to get rid of and make a little bit of money on it, which is actually kind of an interesting way to use up space, especially considering they're trying to tear down sets and there aren't really a lot of panels going on Sunday, which is a good day to kind of buy your merchandise and kind of as you're kind of making your way out of the convention. Overall, I had a really great time at Ichibancon 2025. There was some really great panels, great way to kind of spend the new year, especially if you have the time and you live in the western part of the state or, within a couple hour radius of it. Really would recommend it for a lot of people if you're just trying to find something to kind of, get you over the New Year's blues. But if you were at this convention, definitely let me know your thoughts and opinions and see if you had a different experience. And I will see you in the next convention review.